Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the Patreon podcast. This week, I wanted to talk briefly about my experience with Gumroad so far. I have been using Gumroad for about 2 years. Actually, it's been more like 3.5 years. I've had my Gumroad account for a long time, but it was as a purchaser and not a content creator. But when I started creating sample packs, I decided I needed to put them somewhere, and Gumroad is kind of a good storefront for this style of content, because it's not like something you can put a sample pack on Bandcamp. You could host it locally, but then like payment systems are kind of a problem. But Gumroad kind of works as a great little storefront for digital goods. It's kind of like Etsy for digital goods then. I guess we could go with that route. And I really like it. I think that Gumroad is a fantastic place to just put stuff up there, especially stuff that you want to sell, but not necessarily just for selling things. I also use Gumroad as a way to construct and build my mailing list. And I've talked about mailing lists in the past, but I still feel that mailing lists are one of the most important tools that you have in your arsenal to build an audience. And I think that it's just important to have that. And my workflow or my strategy with Gumroad is to offer things for free to get people on the mailing list, and then to use the mailing list to let people know that I'm either releasing something new like an album, or I'm putting out a sample pack, or I eventually hope to be writing a book, or, putting out a game or something like that. I want to let people know what else is going on in my life, and the free stuff is an avenue into that. And I think that that's, perfectly fair and reasonable. Especially since, I'm open and upfront about that, because I think it's like the GDPR or whatever, like the restrictions on privacy. But I want to make sure that what I offer on Gumroad is good enough or interesting enough to get people invested in it. And I've kind of fallen into a rhythm with that, where I have a big item at the start of the month and then a small update to the micro sample pack mid-month. And this gives me 2 opportunities to send emails and to let people know that I'm still here and I'm still making stuff. And, every time I send an email, I see a big spike on my Gumroad. For the most part, it's people downloading the free stuff, which is perfectly fine. Like, I'm okay with that. But there are people who explore further on the page and they pick up a couple things. And recently, and this was a really, really great idea that I found on Twitter, is some people offer like an everything pack, which is essentially just a big bundle of everything they offer on the storefront. And I built that, and it allowed me to essentially give people a shortcut to download all 30, 40 plus bundles or sample packs and everything that I have just in one place for a pretty reasonable discount. And having done that, my sales are very spiky now, because it goes from, $3 a day, $4 a day, $50 a day, $6 a day. But I feel that was a really good step in the right direction, because it allows me to get a big chunk of value out of that, whereas most people wouldn't spend the time to add all 40 items to their cart and then pay for them and all that other stuff. But if you have it all in one spot, it gives them a good opportunity to just grab it all at once. And also, seeing as the everything pack keeps getting updated continually, they're not only buying everything that I have released in the past, but they're also buying everything I've released in the future, which is kind of a really cool value add. But I'm not trying to sell it. It's a cool way of doing things, and I'm really glad that I found that on Twitter. So yeah, I really like Gumroad. I think that it's also a really well-run company. I can't remember the name of the guy who runs it right now, but he's pretty active on Twitter. He recently it started not really selling stocks with it, but he's trying to be very grassroots with how it's run. It's also run in a really cool way where it's all aggregated around the country. They don't really have meetings. They don't really do that. Everybody just has a set of goals and they work towards those goals. It's run in a very interesting way. And I think that it's just a good company. So, I mean, if you have anything that you need to try to sell online that's digital, whether that's PDFs or whatever, God, I've sounded like an ad for Gumroad. I'm really not sponsored by them or anything. I really do like them though. But overall, Gumroad isn't paying the bills for me, but it's supplementing a lot of income. They pay out every Friday, and every Friday I get, $60 to $100 in my account just from people who picked stuff up over the past week. And I think that it's really cool to have that kind of little supplemental income that helps me continue to build my studio, kind of shore up some bills and everything else that's happening. And it's just been going really well. So yeah. And who knows, maybe in the future I'll find a different service, and that's why I'm saying my experience with Gumroad so far, because who knows how that will change in the future. But in the moment, I'm really enjoying them, and I think that it's a great integration into my my revenue streams and my workflow, where I have this opportunity to get people interested in what I do twice a month, and I have a place to put all that stuff. And I do have a paid account with them. Their free account has some limitations on email, I think. And really I wanted to support them anyway. So I think that it was good. So if you have any questions on Gumroad, please feel free to reach out. I'm more than happy to talk about it more. But in the meantime, thank you so much for being a Patreon supporter. I really do appreciate it. And thank you so much for listening. I hope that you have a wonderful weekend, and I will talk to you in the next one. Be remarkable.